doing it. You supposed to be happy you sitting there with Kid L. Why you mad?
The Kid L podcast.
Rocking and rolling. We have J.Gueringer in the building. How you doing today?
What up, though, brother? You good?
I'm very good, man. Owner of the Chiefy Tribe brand.
Yeah, the Chiefy Tribe. The Chiefy Tribe. I see you got the J's on today.
Yeah,
man.
I got you know. I know you hooked me up with the purple Chiefy Tribes, man, and I did appreciate that. And I know, my fits weren't really cordboarding with the shoes that you gave me, so I understand. Like, you guys had to cancel the sponsorship for a little bit.
Yeah.
But you hit me up. You said, maybe we can reconcile and figure this out together.
Figure something out, man. So, what let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room. The fits wasn't that awful. You know what I mean? To me,
appreciate it.
But just as a collective, we was like, hey, man, he got a big brand, and we don't want the shoes to be tarnished with his brand, because your brand, like, I understand your style, I get it, but we wanted it to be like a different direction. Yeah,
I know, I understand, man. And today, supposedly, you guys are supposed to help me cordboard up a little bit. Yeah. So what are we doing here today?
We got you right here. Let's see.
Okay. Yeah.
You good? And as you pull them out, I get you together.
Oh man. Okay. Oh, hold on. Let's start off with this.
So we got
a lot
Phoenix
going on.
Flame.
Oh, this is beautiful.
From Pontiac.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of my Pontiac brand homies, they seen that, they seen what was going on, and I was like, let's get them together. Let's put them together.
Appreciate this. I love purple, man.
Yeah, I got you. And a back go with it more than anything.
Yeah,
and then that's up. Maximum Wage by JC Custom.
Okay, so we got this one right here, Nick.
Yep, Maximum Wage.
Hey, how about that?
Max. The top of it. Flip the collar up.
Yeah, Maximum Wage.
That's beautiful.
So JC Customs is he like a Alibaba of Michigan. You know what I mean? Like he manufacture almost all the brands that come out of Michigan. And then that's a different brand. So they just coming out, and that's their first one. They seen it. They got the lean and the different things.
I noticed you guys really like purple, man.
Yeah. So and I'm gonna get behind that when it comes to that. And then the last two shirts is my brand.
Oh, so this is your brand right here?
Yeah, that was my brand.
Okay,
that's the logos.
Okay,
so you got the purple that matches the shoes.
Oh, now see this? I can hold up. Yeah, this is my style right here. I like that. I like that simplicity, but that boldness to it. That's beautiful.
Exactly.
That's beautiful.
And I didn't want to. And then we got the black one.
Okay, yeah, man.
So
I appreciate you, man.
No problem. I told you I'd get you together. I didn't want to do nothing too crazy. I wanted to let in some other brands too, like just so they can get some wear out of it. But I didn't want to do nothing too crazy because I wanted to make sure like you could wear it when you got your sweats or your jeans and you put it together the way you want to. But there we go, So.
I appreciate that, man. That means a lot to me, bro.
No problem,
That means a lot, man. I feel like the whole city's trying to get me cordboarded up, and I feel like you're helping that process. And I feel like with what you did, it's helping me figure out. I respect Detroit's fashion sense, and I understand the significance of it, right? Because when you put on that, what they call that shit, you know what I'm saying? You present to people differently. Like people take you more seriously, and it's a way of kind of representing the city style, which I want to do. So I appreciate you, man. But you have a long history too, man. You've been working for a while. This isn't you didn't pop up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Talk about first of all where you're from.
So originally I was born West Side Detroit, 7 Mile Biltmore, and then my dad he had a spot over there. My mom's from Pontiac, so I was raised in Pontiac. So I went to elementary school, middle school, high school out there. Funny, when it comes to style, I won best dress in high school before I even got to high school. So that's like, I just get dressed. That was always my thing. But then my last year of high school, I moved out to Houston, Texas. So if you see anything of me pertaining to Houston, that's where it come from. So 2008 to 2012, I was out in Houston, Texas, my last year of high school, and did some college out there.
Very cool, man. Yeah. When you were growing up in Detroit, did you know that fashion was going to be in your portfolio? This was going to be the business venture for you?
So the thing is, my dad, he used to work at Northland, and when he worked at Northland, he worked at a suit store. So my dad had 52 suits. So he had a suit, just to kind of, and then he had hundreds and hundreds of shirts. So he always had like different fits that he could always put together. And my mom was crazy with the fashion sense too. So everybody liked their fashion sense. My dad was always in that. And then he worked at Henrietta Hatter too before they closed down downtown. So fashion just always been in my DNA. But I didn't know until like 4th, 5th grade. That's when I was going to start getting into like the fashion industry.
Cool. So, and what was kind of the early inspirations for you as far as the mainstream?
So when it came to that, me and one of my best friends, I wrote poetry, right? And he wrote raps. So we was trying to get a girl, and he got her off the raps. So I ended up getting into the rap, like just writing raps and everything. So we studied like 106 in Park and how they did all their treatments for videos and rollouts and all that. And then so we started studying Jay-Z. You know, like he came out with his own clothes and sneakers and all that. So I'm like, that's the direction I want to go. I want to be like an owner. I knew like 10 years old, I wanted to be an owner. I would sell. I'll draw pictures. I'll draw the rock tattoo, and I hope I don't get sued for this, but I'll draw the rock tattoo and sell it in elementary. So I sell it to the kids for like 75 cents a dollar. So yeah, so I just always knew I wanted to be an owner.
Entrepreneur early on in life, right? Like from like a really young age, right? What was the first time of your life where it was professional, where it's like, okay, we're actually an established entity?
I'd say it was like my early 20s. So again, I went through a stage of where I was moving around, trying to figure out my place in life. Like, do I really want to do music? Do I want to go to school? What do I really want to do? School wasn't my strong point. I did it just because, you know, I found the way in. But music was my strong point. Like writing for people, writing my own music, putting the dots together, putting producers with different people. So it's just, that's when my early 20s, I started selling merch at my shows. So like I'd be doing shows with Juicy J, Pusha T, Doughboys when they was like getting a deal and all that. And I always sell out on my merch. So that's when I was like, all right, cool. The merch is probably where I need to really go because merch is doing way more than the music. So that's where I went with it.
Talk about your music career a little bit too, because you're just naming off people that are, you know, historic and Detroit music and music in general. What was it like working with Doughboys?
Doughboys was cool. Like the thing about Doughboys, I got a real good relationship with B. Smith out of the Doughboys. But before that, we were always be in like similar circles. So like I remember it was a song called Foolin'. This guy named Zell out in Pontiac. He had a song with, I want to say, I forget who, it was a guy on the radio and somebody else, I forget who it was, but I was in the studio with them then, and then we just always kept bumping into each other, doing shows, just being in the same circles. So then I didn't get a real relationship with them until like me and B. Smith linked up. So he started messing with the clothes, and that's how we tied in together.
Who else were you working with at that time and doing shows with and collaborations with?
I was on the early scene of the Detroit, like, they call it the hipster scene and all that, but that 2010, 2015 wave around there. So like I was doing, the first Detroit show I ever did was Cousin Chiefy McFly.
Oh.
So like I did the air up there, then I just started doing everybody's show. Just started coming out here to Detroit, doing all the shows back to back to back. So I was like everybody, early Zaloopers, early Dej Loaf. So like Dej Loaf, I remember before Try Me came out, she was real like super conscious rap. So like I don't be shocked by anything that she does. Like she literally can do whatever she wants to. We hit the studio. She hopped on my hook because to me she always had a great hook voice, a phenomenal artist. But I mean the hook is the song. So I had her hop on on one of my songs called "Girls Let a Party," and then I think like 6 months, 8 months down the line, she blew everybody out the water with the Try Me. Like took over the game with that. So I mean everybody that you could think of coming out of Detroit, I've worked with. What's his name? Gino the Ghost. Like he was on one of my remixes. T Deezy, me and him worked together early on. He's well known in his producing and rapping line. So it's a lot of people that I worked with.
That's cool, man. You soaked up one of the eras that helped break open the doors for where Detroit hip hop is now. That kind of fundamental era of the Doughboys, you know what I'm saying, and Dej Loaf being one of the first artists to really break out of Detroit. Probably some people argue that she is really the first one to really break out. You know, considering it besides Eminem, obviously, like to get it to that level. But talk about that scene in general, though. Like, what were you seeing in like as a whole? What it was, what was making it what it was, and what made it not prosper enough for each individual group to succeed to the level that artists are succeeding right now?
So like early, I think Chav was probably like one of the dominant artists in that area, just like because he was singing and rapping, and he was working in certain circles. And then you had like Dej, who was working in certain circles, and then Zaloopers. But just like seeing all them, like if you caught on to a certain circle or you were a part of something, I think it took off. I think for that whole era or that whole niche though per se, I think if somebody would have, and I'm not saying nobody need to be saved. Like I'm a grown man, so I never say that, but if somebody would have came in and just like picked up that era, I think they would have had like 100 talented artists. You could have started a label off of that era.
And only the people that could possibly have done that at that time was somebody like maybe like a Royce or, you know,
Or
Eminem, right? Eminem,
or Sean.
Oh, Sean, yeah. Sean,
Yeah.
Sean was like he was already pretty well known at that time to be able to do it. Royce could have easily done it, and he has that more of that kind of leadership mentality that would have helped. I'm kind of curious on why they didn't. Like, what didn't they see? You know?
I feel like Tone was doing it though.
Tone was doing it.
No. Say It Ain't Tone.
Oh, okay.
I feel like he was doing it because he had and I'm going blank with my guy. It was Say It Ain't Tone, Dej Loaf. He funny, but he cold. He like, I can't think of his name. Heavier set guy, darker. What's my guy's name, man? And this is my I know
Oberroland?
Roland, yeah. Roland, my guy. You know what I'm saying? And like Say It Ain't Tone, Oba, Dej. It was a couple other people. Like I think Jay John was with them, but he also was finally famous. So it was like all those cats. I think like Tone was tapping into like going to different shows. I see him at shows and just like grabbing different artists. So I respected that again. So
when with music, and you're selling out shirts when you're doing your shows and stuff like that. So did you start putting the music down a little bit more and focusing more on the fashion?
So the conversion came right before the pandemic.
Wow.
So like my dad got sick in like 2013, 15. So I had a single in 2012 called Trill Wave, Catch the Wave. So I was like, the hook is like catch the wave. And that's what a lot of people knew me for. That's how I was getting a lot of my shows, doing festivals like South by Southwest, A3C. And my pops got sick like real bad. And I had to just focus on that. I'm focusing on family. So then when I jumped back into music, it was like I was starting from ground zero. You know, and then like 2019, I was like, you know what, this is gonna be a clothing line more than merch. So when I got into the clothing line, it was like 2019, it was picking up, pandemic hit, and then it went crazy. So like every model, Instagram model, every celebrity you could think of literally was wearing the clothes. So like right before, when it was still merch, Currency got a song called Pegasus, a video, and he got my shirt Pros. So that was like, I had an album called Clifford, Pros was on there. That's got, the remix got Cash Doll and Payroll in it. But before we get there, the shirt Pros, I was selling that as merch. And Currency got it in the video. So like a dude at the end wearing it, Currency got his arm around him and stuff. So that's when I was like, I think I got an eye for this clothing line thing. So that's when I just took off like 2019 with it.
Oh man, did you see results from that as far as people inquiring for your brand? Like when they see it on a major video, humongous artists, like did that change anything? Like for artists to know about placements and music videos and whatnot?
That exact shirt, no, it didn't. But when I seen that, I know I could monetize it. So again, Currency dropped 100 videos a year. That's one of my favorite artists, but I wasn't paying attention to him on that specific video. Somebody ran across it and was like, hey, ain't this one of your shirts?
Right.
And I was like, yeah. And when I seen that, I'm like, all right, it's time for me to lock in.
See, that's smart, right? So are you saying that when somebody wears your shirt in a music video, right, it might not lead to direct sales by just people seeing it, but by you taking that clip or maybe finding a way to market that clip, it helps?
Every single time.
Oh my God, that's brilliant.
Every single time. So
I don't know how I didn't think about that shit.
So people always think like, they'd be like, you pay for everybody. Some people, you do pay for their marketing because it comes with a big influence, but everybody ain't paid for it. You know what I mean? Some people just rock with it. Some people, like B. Smith from Doughboys, he just rock with the brand.
Right.
Sada just hit me up. You know what I mean? Sada just reached out to me like, hey, I need them red shoes, dog. So it's like, everybody ain't paid for everything ain't a marketing scheme or a marketing plan. Some stuff just, if you put in the work, it starts coming to you.
Even when you gave me the purple shoes, like, that wasn't a paid placement. I literally was rocking those bitches like so hard. And then me and you decided like, hey, let's work on some more stuff. But I love those shoes, man, for real. Like I didn't give a fuck when I was wearing those, man. Everybody was like, yo, those are fire, but like you're not. I was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm wearing these to the gym. I'm wearing these everywhere I go. I did not take them off for like 2 weeks just because they felt so different and distinguishable. Talk about some more people that you started getting your clothing line around from the Detroit scene and even from the mainstream.
I think it probably wasn't my biggest, but one of my most impressive collaborations was with Jazz Renee.
Oh yeah, Jasmine Renee.
So
right?
people sleep on Jazz Renee, and the reason I say that is because like when I brought it to my team, I'm like, we go work with Jazz Renee, and they was like, I don't know. Like there was 50-50 on it. Some people loved the idea, some people didn't. I was like, she knows how to grab people's attention. I had this shirt called Chase a Bag. And I'm like, this is the perfect shirt for the perfect person. She put that shirt on, she put the hoodie on, and it did numbers. Like literally we posted it. We like, hey, we posting it this day. And then when she posted it, I woke up the next morning with like 50 orders for Chase a Bag t-shirts.
Nice.
So again, it's just like knowing what goes with who. So then you got people like Watch Jazzy. So she's a big comedian. She's a big personality on Instagram, and she got a lot. Like if you look her up, she has a million things going on, and she just rocked with the brand genuinely because we bumped into each other over 10 years ago. And I just walked up to her, introduced myself. I didn't know who she was, but she had a camera crew with her. And I'm like, hey, what do you do? She was like, I'm interviewing people. I'm like, let's do an interview. You know what I mean? I'm at I want to say A3C out in Atlanta. I was out there for that festival and just bumping into people, shaking people's hands, talking to them. And ever since then, like we built a great friendship from that, right? So anytime she got something going on, I support and vice versa. But I mean, her following is crazy. Cash Doll, when she didn't wear no clothes. I always send Cash clothes, but she did the feature. And the way we did the feature was I just bumped into somebody that knew her. And they was like, do you want to do a song with Cash Doll? I mean, like I would support what she was doing on Twitter, just like when she first started, when she converted. Because I could see in people. I'm like, I know you gonna go be great. You just need people supporting you. And when I seen it, she I think she knew of me. She didn't know me, but she knew of me just from tweeting and stuff. And we did the song, man. And I was like, she was probably to be as big as she is, and she was big at that time, but she's bigger now. Like she was probably one of the most organic people when it came to like supporting the brand. Like she like when we did the song, it was around her birthday. We was releasing it. I think she was having like labels issues or something like that. She was like, come out to my birthday. And she rapping the song at her birthday. She's like, come out to the club. And we just do a little video. Mind you would have thought me and Cash Doll knew each other for years. Yeah. But she believed in the record just like I believed in her. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then Pay did the verse. I think that was probably one of his coldest verses ever. You know, but it got taken down and we re-released it with the video. I couldn't get Pay in time for the video. And I had Cash Doll, so I'm like, skip it. Paige is gonna be on the song and Cash Doll gonna be in the video. So I mean, I was and you know we was talking about comments earlier, right? Like people getting beat up by comments, and I got that's probably one of the most times I've got beaten up in comments on a song. So they're like, we love Cash Doll. Who is this guy singing on the hook? Who is this guy rapping? Like he trash. This is her song. And I was like, keep commenting. I love it. You know what I'm saying? Because the more you comment, the more you watch. I'm the owner of the song, so but I rocked with Cash Doll for that ever since then. So she always get my support.
Yeah, a special person for sure. Like sometimes I don't know how to look at her as like, as far as like she's so like sometimes she reminds me of like my cousins that I like, the cousins I love the most, sisters that I love the most. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I think about her in like ways that, you know, like she's just legendary type stuff. Yeah. But definitely like a unique soul. Talk about, you know, you worked with Wiz Khalifa on the clothing too, man, and how that came together.
So I got a Wiz Khalifa. Wiz Khalifa is probably, I gave up rap in high school, and when he dropped, what was it? It was like 08, 09. He dropped not How Fly. It was right before How Fly, Flight School. That made me want to rap again. So I got a friend that goes to all the Wiz Khalifa shows. So she always bumps into Wiz. And her name is Peach. She's a photographer now. She's from Pontiac, but she live out in like VA or North Carolina or something. And she does all the celebrities' pictures now. So I'm like, hey, if you ever bump into Wiz, I got a hoodie for him. So she bumped into him. She bumped into Currency. Both of them gave him the hoodie. They took pictures with it, shouted it out, all that. So just having that, even though I didn't work directly with him, just that 6 degrees of separation, him having the brand, shouting it out. Yeah. So that was a big one.
Yeah, no, that picture's cool, man. Like, at the end of the day, it's like, that's one of the big, like, literally one of the biggest artists in the entire world. Yeah. And your brand's next to him, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, talk about the importance for these younger cats that are trying to get their clothing line of marketing and, you know, because every time I'm like, yo, branded business owners hit me up, let's sponsor. And then I'll send them like $75 to sponsor an episode. It's like nothing, right? Mm-hmm. And then they're like, I can't, that's out my bag. I'm like, dude, do you realize I spend personally, myself, I probably spend $1,000 to $2,000 marketing myself a month. And you know, I'm not making the, you know, whatever people think I'm making, I'm not making as much as people think. So talk about the significance of marketing to get yourself elevated and get yourself out of the closet and out of the vans.
So when it comes to marketing, one thing you said was how much you invest in yourself, right?
Yeah.
People don't believe, like, one, I do a lot of the groundwork on my own. Like, going up to the high school, I get a homie, I'm like, hey bro, I'm about to go up to the high school. You mind filming this? Here go a couple dollars. Just film it on my phone. You know what I mean? But when it comes to marketing, like, all the work you do, it doesn't matter if you don't market yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, if nobody knows, nobody cares. You know, and people be like, I remember earlier in my career, like, I had paid for the payroll feature, and somebody was like, I wouldn't pay for a payroll feature. And I'm like, why not? It was like, he's just a Detroit artist. I'm like, he's a legendary Detroit artist. And when I say it, I go, that's a big investment. One, Payroll is one of my favorite Detroit artists. Just off of what I was listening to him on the way here, you know. And then two is like, he's probably one of the most consistent artists that's coming from Detroit. So let's excuse the Doughboy era and just go like to the solo era, right? So I forget how it was like a band or something that I paid during that time, but somebody saying they wouldn't pay that, I'm like, I would pay that because it's marketing. You're paying for the market. You're paying for that name. You're paying for that stamp. And dog just you know, he shouted it out. We show love every time we see each other, but it's, again, I'm paying you for the work you've done already. So when I'm marketing, if let's say I haven't paid for many people, but let's say Ari Fletcher, she wore my clothes, and I sent her extra stuff and she wore it, but the piece that I had her promote was like a $4,000 investment. You know what I mean? So somebody might be like, that's crazy that you invested $4,000 into Ari. But I'm like, you see Ari every week, or you see her on a TV show, or she with Moneybag Yo. So I'm like, you're not paying for just somebody to wear it. You're paying for the work that they already put in. Yeah. So like, if somebody's paying you $75, they're not paying you just because you got a platform. They're paying you for the work that you put in and you about to put in. Yeah. So a sweet thing about investment is you gonna work. I just seen this in an interview. You're gonna work harder now for less. So later on, you could work less and make more. Yeah. And that's all the marketing and investment doing. Like, Jay-Z probably dumped more money into his name back in the 90s and 2000s than he do now. Yeah. But people pay more for him now. So it's just, if you're running away from marketing, you probably shooting yourself in the foot.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Can you drag that microphone into yourself a little bit closer?
Here. That's cool.
Yeah, that's good. I forget what president said it, but he said, or what businessman said it, but he said the moment you stop marketing your business is the moment your business freezes. It does not progress. If you're not marketing yourself, then there's no awareness for your brand, what you're trying to sell, what you're trying to get out there, and everybody's trying to penny pinch and all that stuff, and it's like, the beginning stages are the most important times for you to market yourself. Once you figure out what you can sell, you got to figure out how to get into more people's eyes and get it sold, right? Mm-hmm. But people are like just so weird, like, well, my shirt cost me $20 to make. If I spend $100 marketing it, then it's like, dude, that's like part of the game. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to keep getting yourself seen by people and places that put yourself in places that there's a lot of traffic, there's a lot of footwork. And that will help grow your brand. The more people start seeing you, more people start seeing your brand, the more they're going to want to be a part of it. Like the Wealthy brand is a great example. Yeah. Part of the reason everybody buys the Wealthy brand is because they were seeing it everywhere too. Everybody's wearing this damn shirt. I see more of a significance in it. It feels like a movement, therefore I'm going to get to it. But that was done by marketing. It wasn't done just by like,
everybody wanted
Jesus outside just holding a shirt like one time, like, yo, if you guys want this $100, here you go. Like,
and that's my guy. Him and his partner. I stop up at their shop all the time. I shop with them. You know what I'm saying? But I respect it because I seen it online. This when I had Twitter. Twitter banned me for posting a Jay-Z screenshot, a song, so I don't even rock with Twitter no more. But I'm like, I was on Twitter. I seen somebody post about it. I didn't even know the Wealthy brand at all. And I went to the city and I went to this brunch spot. Every girl in there had on either a T-shirt or a hoodie. And I was like, man, this is crazy. And I respected it because I understood it more than just Wealthy T-shirt or a hoodie. I understood the marketing behind it. I'm like, oh, they really pushing units out here. Yeah, so I respected it. I thought that was genius in itself.
Yeah, you done it as well, man. You've been I seen a video recently. You're going out to schools and giving out clothes and talk about that, man. Talk about that aspect of even just showing entrepreneurship to these young kids growing up, and also what it helps do for your brand.
So I went to Pontiac Northern. That's what it was back in the 05, 09 era. 09 was last year. It was Pontiac Northern. It became Pontiac High. So that's the school I was at. So they went from Huskies, which was red, white, and gray, to a Phoenix, which is purple. And I went up to the high school. I got a Benz, so I pulled up in the Benz in front of the buses where I used to catch the bus at where the kids was at. And I'm just outside with my shoe boxes. One kid walked by. I ain't put this in the video because it wouldn't have made it look right. One kid walked by. I'm like, hey, I got some shoes, and I knew he probably thought it was weird. He looking like, nah, I'm good. And he just walks. And I'm like, dang. So I was like, all right, cool. I had to think on the spot, how do I want these kids to get their shoes? So I start opening up the shoes in front of my car. And one of the kids like, hey, what's those? I'm like, these my shoes, And he like, where do you get them from? I'm like, I'm giving them away. What size you wear? He like a 9. And I go, I just wear Vezo wore them in the 2 Million Up video. Snapdog promoting it. I'm like, Sada just got it. I'm like, I'm utilizing the currency, the social currency. And they like, for real? And they just went, like, that's when you seen the crowd. So that's where it came from, just having a conversation with like 1 or 2 kids. And as I was, a lot of the visual couldn't be put in on there, but it's like I'm talking to them like, hey man, I went to school here. I used to skip class. I used to couldn't focus. I used to be like, man, this is pointless. I ain't going nowhere. Because I grew up, people don't know it about Pontiac, but Pontiac is like it's a struggle city. You know what I mean? And you grow up, it's like you A or B. Like you either go this route or this route. Kids either leave and go to school and become something. But if you stuck, you reacting what you paying attention to. And I was one of those kids. I'm like, I want money. So that's what my idea was. But then when I moved to Houston, I seen a whole different world. Like Pontiac full of potholes. It was no potholes where I was at. And I was on the northwest side of Houston. That's a little nicer side, but it's just like seeing people that look like me, and they not just like out in the street, hustling or anything like that. They like actually doctors driving. And the street I stayed on it's like living on Woodward. So I stayed on a street called 1960. So I'm just watching Rolls Royces, Ferraris, Range Rovers, and it's people that look like me. They our age now, but I mean back then, they probably in their 40s or 50s now, but they was 20, 30, going to school, creating businesses like that Slim, like when people see Slim Thug, that's how black people are out there in Houston, like really hustlers, really business owners. So that changed my whole perspective of like what I wanted to do. So when I came back here, I'm like, I'm showing the kids. So when my first spot I got here was a loft downtown Pontiac, and I said I bought a crib above my city. So I wanted to stay here, but I wanted to be here. And I just wanted to show them every single time. So when I got a Challenger, I'm flying through the city and I'm pulling up on kids and I'm letting take pictures with it. When I got the Benz, I'm pulling up. I don't get it for me. If it's for me, I'd rather just get a Grand Prix 08. For real. They got the best engine. No, for real. For real, bro. And all that stuff is for the kids to see like it's obtainable. I don't do nothing.
You have a very nice car, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I
don't know about the Grand Prix. I mean, I get it. Like everybody has their own thing, but damn.
But I don't care about that stuff, bro. I care more about my brand. At the end of the day, I'm gonna tell you, this is the first time I've ever said this, ever. I don't even talk about this. So with the purple shoes, I was doing a business venture with somebody, and something happened on their end. They couldn't come through. So it was a $10,000 investment. I took an L. You know what I'm saying? Like I had a chain, a nice chain. And I'm like, all right, cool. I could either say, and no cursing, but I could say F my business, F my clients, keep my chain, keep my money, go invest something else that I know gonna make money and just bounce back. Or I could say I take that L, learn from it. And I sold my chain. And your chain not even worth, especially if it's custom, it was my logo. I'm like, your chain not even worth when they melt it down or when you try to sell it or get rid of it. It's not even worth what you paid for.
Yeah, not even close.
Not even close. So I'm like, I made enough just to break even. And I had to start from scratch. You know what I'm saying? But it's not about the chain. I don't care about that stuff. I sell a Benz, I sell a chain. I get dirty. I tell myself before Snowfall ended, I'm like, I'll never go Franklin Saint. You know what I'm saying? I get rid of everything and bounce back. So to say all that though, it wasn't about the money. It ain't about the chain. It ain't about the Benz. It's about the people that I'm touching.
Yeah.
So like, bouncing back, I got the shoes. I made my money back. I sold it, made my money back. And then I read up on shoes. I was like, let me go up to the school and give away some shoes because I was blessed enough to go through a struggle and come out on top. So that's why I ain't even tripping about like material stuff is fake. You know, at the end of the day, like I had a Challenger at one point. Now I don't. I got a Benz now. One day I won't. I had a chain. I had 2 chains. So I had one and I lost that. I tucked it in and it came out. I was fighting and like on some drunk stuff. That's why I don't drink no more. But the second one, I got rid of it. But it's all fake. It's all like a figment of our imagination. We get it and we get rid of it. You know what I mean? Either you sell it, you pass it down, whatever you do. So that's why I don't even really care about none of that stuff, bro. It's like the real stuff is this. Like the people comment. The real stuff is when you say Chiefy Tribe is letting me go and people inboxing me like, F you fake Louis Vuitton, da 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 da, this and that, da. Like that's the real stuff. Because you affecting people, you touching people. Like I seen a comment saying, you feeding off of the black culture. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's a perspective, right? You know, that's a good way to look at it. But another good way to look at it is somebody with a platform is highlighting black culture.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. When people like call me a culture vulture and stuff, I'm always like, do you realize 95% of my page isn't even me? And do you realize I could be making tons of money off my page in so many ways and I don't do it?
Yeah. There's
so many things I could be doing to exploit the music industry and exploit Detroit culture, and I don't do it because it's not part of me. When you look at what I'm doing, I'm an entertainer, and the entertainment scene is happening in Detroit. Mm-hmm. Bottom line, entertainment's in Detroit. I'm an entertainer. This isn't about culture. This isn't about what demographic we're talking about here. This is literally, I'm an entertainer. I love to entertain. I love to create productions. Detroit is, the Hollywood of Michigan. That's where I'm working. It really doesn't get further than that. Yeah, I do love black culture. Yeah, I do love Detroit. Yeah, I do love the music. Yeah, I do love the people, the fashion, everything like that. I have a love for that, compassion towards that. I grew up around that. But at the end of the day, it's not me going like, I'm going to go after this market here. It's just me going like, I'm going to entertain. I love these people. I'm working here.
And it's one of the most influential cultures, though. Like, not even just the black. It's just the rap culture, the hip hop, what hip hop is. Yeah. These sneakers, you know what I mean? Like you wearing Jordans, bro. Like you said, those was your first Jordans or first Jordan 3s?
First real pair, yeah.
First real pair. Like that's the culture. That isn't. Yeah, it came off of a black man, but it was a white company. You know what I mean? Like they teamed together, and that's the hip hop culture. You being in Detroit, like promoting, broadcasting, your love for Cash Doll that you broadcasted is the culture. Like, that's the culture, though, bro.
No, like for me, my friend brought that up to me. Like he's like, what do you think your impact is on Detroit culture? And I didn't really have much to say because I don't really look at it like that, and I get that, and I do respect that people say that and stuff like that. But for me, I genuinely love this stuff, right? Yeah. Like I genuinely love hip hop since my entire life. I genuinely love the black culture my entire life. I grew up around it, everything like that. But that's not my reason for being here. Like as much as people want to create these crazy ass narratives or reasons of why they do stuff, I'm an entertainer at the end of the day. This is what I love to do. These are the types of people I love to be around. Bottom line. But it doesn't really get beyond that. Like
it's what you love. You love the culture.
You love. Yeah, when you love the culture, it's a natural thing. But I'm not gonna go around saying like, "Oh, I'm doing it because I love the culture." It's more because I love doing what I do, and this makes sense. This is work. These things work together. It just makes no sense to create lies and create incentives for why people are doing stuff when it's just your genuine nature. It's just your genuine nature. It. Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I mean by you love the culture, not because you love the culture, but you love it, so you embody it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, so, and that's where I think when it comes down to like anything, my man's behind the camera or Jay, what's his name?
High Low Visuals Nick.
High Low Visuals Nick, like Nick, him behind the camera, or Jay behind the camera, or the artist that I manage, Zaire. Like me, even as a rapper, bro. Like when I rap, not saying I don't care about the money because I do things to make money, but I still put out music or I still record because I love it. I embody it. You do the same thing. You're a part of this. You found your lane. Yeah. It's a kid, and people forget, like, it don't just stop with black people. Like, I got a friend over 10 years, young white kid. You know what I mean? His name is Paul. He's in corporate America. He works for one of the biggest companies, and he loves Detroit rap. Like, he can tell you almost everything about Detroit rap. I'm like, bro, you should just make a blog. He's like, no, I just love the city too much. And he's from Boston.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's bigger than just Detroit. Detroit is bigger than Detroit.
Yeah.
And I think people forget that because they love Detroit so much. It's like, it's a culture thing. When people pick up Cardis, they're not just biting Detroit. It's because they love Detroit. When people pick up Minks, when people bite the flow, and you want to be, of course, our city and our culture wants to be known for that, and I get it. But it's bigger than Detroit now. It's bigger than Michigan. It's bigger than Flint. It's bigger than Pontiac. Like, it's bigger than these things. Like, man, it's a whole new wave. Like, 10 years ago, people didn't even know who Babyface Ray was. Now he got a song with Jack Harlow. And when I say people might not even embrace what Jack Harlow is, but Jack Harlow is the biggest artist, right? Like, not the biggest, but one of the biggest rap artists right now.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So, like, Detroit is bigger than Detroit. So that's why I love it too. You know what I mean? I was on the east side when the power went out in 2000, 2001. You know what I mean? Like, I was raised in it just as well. So that's why I try to tell people, like, don't hold it so much that you don't let it grow. You're not, when you not holding it, you're not letting it go, you just letting it grow.
Right. There's a repetitive cycle that I watched happen, and I'm still watching it happen. There's a pattern in the music scene in Detroit, and, you know, everybody needs to really see what's going on and pay attention, because if you look at it, this cycle hasn't stopped for like 15 years. And if you want to break out of that cycle, if you want to be the next one up, you have to figure out, how do I separate myself from the cycle that's happening? Like, I get, you know, you got to go perform live, you know what I'm saying? You got to record tracks and do features. You got to do this and that.
Yeah.
But you have to, if you have the potential to break out and it doesn't match with what's going on in Detroit, then break out. You know what I'm saying? Don't fall in line with the pattern or the cycle, because you're going to be stuck in the same look. Like, I was just thinking about it the other day. The same artists that been successful 10 years ago are still relevant today, and you barely see any newcomers come from that, right? So it's like, if those dudes are still doing the same exact thing they were doing 10 years ago, even though they're more successful now, something is wrong. Like, the artists that were very, very established 10 years ago in Detroit are still doing the same exact thing right now. They're still performing at the same places, recording the same types of songs, promoting themselves the same types of way on social media. If they're still doing the same thing they were doing 10 years ago, now you have to pay attention to that and be like, okay, do I want to do what they're doing and fall into the cycle, or do I want to break out and be one of those guys that literally can decide to do whatever he wants and doesn't have to be a part of that cycle? It's very important, man.
Because if you really want to be successful, I think I seen a clip of Tyler. I watch everybody, bro. When I say I watch, because I don't have a hate bone in my body. I go by wealthy. I come on here and shout out other Pontiac brands. Detroit versus everybody, which they out of space now. But, you know, it's just Burn Rubber. I go buy my shoes at Burn Rubber. That's a Burn Rubber 218. That's Rose Spit. You know what I'm saying? And he's a local Pontiac guy that got a brand in Royal Oak and Detroit. Like, I went and bought the Jordans just because, like, I support and love it. So I watch everybody. I pay attention to it all. As much as my mental can hold. I got a kid, a business. I work in mortgages and all that. So, I just pay attention to everybody, and we all got a space that we can fully occupy and succeed. So when I say that, I'm saying it to say, like, if you get in a rap game, you getting in it to make money, right? So some people love it, some people don't, but like you might make music just to make music, but if you're getting in the rap game, the rap business, you're doing it to make money. Yeah. So why not make the biggest hit? And people are like, oh, you know, that's going commercial, or that's crossing over. Well, if you're a street rapper, make the biggest street rap song out there. 50 Cent made Mini Man, one of the biggest street rap, like, you know what I mean? So, I think the Street Lords was doing it at one point in time. Like, people forget, like, the Street Lords, they had half of Rockefeller staff on the song. Blade had Young Buck, Jim Jones, and this probably don't mean nothing to nobody now, but like Young Buck and Jim Jones during that time, Jim Jones had Ballin', Summer in Miami. Young Buck was the hottest artist on G Unit, and Blade had those things. So it's like he was investing in his career to be known, to be seen. So you do this to to make the biggest records, and that album's probably one of the greatest Detroit albums out there, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. So you do it to make some of the best work. You do it to make some of the biggest songs. You want to be seen. You want to tour around the world. You want to lead us and come back and show your city that they can do it too.
Yeah, no, it's beautifully put, bro. Like there is like a complacency, right, for artists once they get to a certain level that they don't feel like they need to get to that top tier or attempt to even get to the top tier. They kind of, like I said, they stay in the cycle of making these songs that are kind of subpar but can sell a little bit, maybe get you a show and maybe get some streams for you. But, you know, at the end of the day, that cycle ends, man, or you just stay stuck in it and you're pretty much a slave to the game without you being aware of it. Is there anything you want to say before we sign off, man?
You know, shout out Zaire Danae. She's gonna be like one of the biggest R&B artists out here, and I'm not just saying that to say it. With me or not involved, like she's killing the game. What I will say is, you know, just stay locked in, man. And anybody hating on these,
those are fire.
Hating on these though. So I want to give just behind the scene thing. So this was created because Kool Kai has the Jordan 1. You know what I mean? Everybody has like either a Dunk, an Air Force 1, or a Jordan 1. So I was like, well, what's a silhouette nobody's using? And I just ran with the Louis Vuitton. I got 3 or 4 different sneakers that don't have no silhouette from nothing, and they sold well. So that's why I went with this silhouette. And it's actually, when people look into it, LV says that they got it from New Balance.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? So it's based off the New Balance 550.
Oh, cool.
So that's why I went with it. I was just like, I want to have like my own silhouette that people are familiar with that they can go to as well. So once the brand grows, again, I'm going to keep doing these with different colorways. Again, like the more common shades. I got the purses, all that stuff, man. So anything you need from me when it comes to clothing, tap in. Chiefy Tribe brand is about doing it for your tribe. So Kid L and his team and me and my team and you and your team, like, it's all about just doing it for your tribe, your family, your friends, your community. And that's really what the brand is about. So I want to make something that's not a high-end brand, not a cheap brand, but a purpose brand. So if I seen you would do it for my tribe, I'm like, oh yeah, you down with the tribe. You going higher and above and beyond. Like, so, and I say that to say, I woke up at 3 a.m. this morning. I went to sleep at 11 p.m. with my daughter. Woke up at 3 a.m. to print and press shirts to send them out. Went to the gym. Then I went and spoke to third and fourth graders this morning. And then I went back to my daughter, ran a couple more errands, came here right afterwards. So again, it's really about doing it for my tribe. And if you buy the purple shoes that Kid L always be wearing, from now all the way to the end of this month, again, that's going to lupus awareness. So me and my cousin teamed up. She has lupus, and we're donating half of the profits to lupus awareness as well. So that's, again, what Chiefy Tribe is about too, like making sure we take care of our community.
Beautiful, man. That's a beautiful thing, man.
I appreciate you having me out too, brother.
Oh, yeah, of course, man. Yeah, everybody go cop those purple shoes, man. Lupus awareness. It's very important, man. You know, that not only, you know, are we supporting a brand, but we're helping a serious issue and health issues that people have and helping to address that. You're probably the first person that's done that on the show where you don't help, you know, helping to focus on a health cause and putting money towards it and donating towards it.
I'm the first rapper to fuck. No, I'm just
Appreciate you for being a part of this, Jay, man. Chiefy Tribe was in the building.
Appreciate you,
We're
brother.
at Parallel Sound Studio. High Low Visuals is shooting these productions. We're out. Peace.